What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another live stream. Happy to be back. Today we are doing something different, something we have never done, which is literally reviewing your code. So I'm excited about today and to see how it goes. How is the music? How is the sound? How is everything? Hopefully okay. What's up, CVTML? Nice to see you. Gover, UCN, Caesar1, nice to see you again. Tom, how you doing? Nice to see you as well. Push Hack, nice to see you. Good morning, good night, good day, everyone. Yeah, indeed, we have people all around the world, so it's kind of cool. You know, we have as well with us Psyche, nice to see you as well. Dusan, what's up, dude? How you doing? On air, Mark is asking me if I will be at Laracon US this year. Yes, I will. I will be at Laracon US, hopefully announcing Pest 4. But yeah, excited to be back to Laracon US. It's a conference that I do love, and of course, it's organized by Laravel, so obviously I have to be there, right? Music is okay, absolutely perfect. Today we have a busy day, okay? We have a busy day. We are going to literally review your code. All right, so here's the plan. Yesterday, I told you guys I was not streaming, so literally I wanted to stream today, so I decided to make the pause yesterday. So today I can stream a little bit earlier, which I do love to do that. And the goal is kind of just open your projects and kind of review them live. And hopefully we can dedicate like a few minutes into every single one of them. We have a bunch of them, so I'm not really sure if we are going to be able to do all of them, but one good idea is just start from the top and go all the way down. What do you guys think about that? Like literally start from the top, from the first reply, and just go all the way down, okay? If you want your project to be reviewed, I'm gonna send you this tweet, so basically you can just put your content right there. Just put the link right there, and I will hopefully review today if I have time. But yeah, that's the goal. What else do I have to say? If you don't know me, by the way, chat, my name is Nuno Maduro, PHP and Laravel developer. I love what I do, and today the goal is kind of review some code from people. We're going to start with this code or with this first post by Punyapal, which is actually a core contributor of Pinkery, this social media I have built on Laravel and Livewire, this one. In fact, Punyapal, which is the guy who have made that post, is currently and actively, which is this guy right here, currently moving Pinkery to Laravel Cloud. So I have invited already Punyapal into my team in Laravel Cloud and effectively moving Pinkery already to Laravel Cloud. So we are doing that at the moment. As you know, Pinkery at the moment is on a droplet in DigitalOcean with only SQLite as a database. So we are moving all of this stuff to Laravel Cloud. And it's going good, almost done, to be honest. So I'm excited about this. But that being said, let's literally open this and open this first post and get started, okay? Nuno keeping us awake. Where are you from, dude? What's up, Adrian? Nice to see you, man. Welcome to live stream once again. Nice to see you. Pushback is saying, waiting for Larasonic to get reviewed. Is on this list as well? Larasonic? Oh my god, there is a bunch of them. Jesus Christ. Okay, is Larasonic here? I cannot see it though. It is? Did I miss it? Wow. Okay. Well, I cannot see Larasonic, so I'm not really sure. I need to refresh this, maybe? I don't have a course that will teach you how to structure Laravel projects. However, I do have a video about actions on my YouTube channel, so go there, because on my YouTube channel I do have a lot of content. You're watching me from YouTube, so just go to my YouTube, click on videos, and you'll see a bunch of them. I also today would like to individually see code on the gist, so if you have like a gist of code, which is only a class, for example, I would be down to review that class as well, instead of reviewing a full pull request, you know what I mean? Yeah, that being said, let's get started. Let's start with this project called Basic CRUD by Puyapal. Okay, I'm gonna click on this, open it. So this project seems to be, let's go from the beginning, okay? One thing I think it's truly important when you have a project, an open source project, is literally your README. Your README, on the opposite what people may think, needs to be as simple as possible, needs to contain as less words as possible, and it should immediately point you to the commands that I need to run on my terminal to get your project up and running. And actually, Puyapal is actually doing a great job here of just telling you, you need to clone the repo, you need to install the dependencies, you need to do this and that, and then you click PHP artisan serve. So looking at this immediately, I kind of not have to read the README anymore, because I just know this is some sort of skeleton or some sort of, you know, skeleton project in Laravel, which is quite nice. I see as well that this skeleton comes with some good composer scripts. We have basically talked a bunch about this and how important composer scripts are in your projects, literally to instruct people how can they run your test suite. This is indeed aligned on what we have discussed earlier during my live streams. Okay. Good evening, Space. How you doing? Tom saying, I added an action example. Where to, though? From India, Mumbai. Nice, dude. I will be in India within 2 weeks. I think it'll be fun. Okay, so this is a project in Laravel, which is quite nice. I'm going to click on app to see if this project is using actions. And it's not, surprisingly. Interesting. So if I go, for example, to my routes web, I get to see that I have interesting. So instead of having something like every single route defined this way, we have a route resource, which effectively removes all of the ones on top, which is kind of cool for, you know, for code simplicity. Every time you have a bunch of routes dedicated to a CRUD controller, you can effectively use the route resource, which does make things way more cleaner. That's for sure. Pushback is saying that Larasonic is the most liked reply in your tweet. Is it? Oh, there we go. This is the one, Larasonic. There we go. Yeah. All right, it's on the list. I will review it today, okay? Okay, I want to see how Puyapal controllers look like, though. I'm going to click here on HTTP, controllers, featured post controller. So Puyapal is using enums, which is quite cool. Is also using enums as casts on my models, which is quite cool. He is not using actions, okay? So this is something that I would probably change here. In this particular code, is that instead of doing the logic directly in your controller, I would abstract those logics away to actions. If I go, for example, to the post controller, which contains a bigger example, undeniably, he's not using actions whatsoever anywhere. So that's something I would probably change. So here, for example, he's already using like form requests, which is an awesome thing. He's using model route binding, which is an awesome thing. The only thing I would change here is that I would also include the actions layer right there, which probably would call this behind the scenes and do some sort of different logics, like, you know, sending emails to update people or any other thing like that. I'm also noticing that Puyapal is not using the queries folder. So typically, this is something kind of new that I've learned recently, is that every single time I'm working with very complex queries, I like to keep those queries isolated on its own folder, basically. Okay, so one good example is on Pinkery, actually. So if I go to the Pinkery project, I click on repositories, and you will see that on pinkery.com, we actually have this It should be, there we go, queries folder basically. And what this folder has is kind of very complicated queries for the different feeds we have. So each time you have, you know, if you're working on the project, which you can already understand that you are going to have a bunch of different difficult queries, for example, for listing something or whatever, consider abstract away those queries to the queries folder, which will contain basically something really simple, which is a builder method, which will return the builder back. But then you can test these queries in isolation, depending on the given arguments, for example, which is so handy, okay? Def mute, I don't like repositories, okay? I don't like repositories because typically when you think about the repository pattern, you think about that in the way that every single interaction with your model should be through the repository layer, okay? Which is not what I want. The only thing I want is that I want to keep using model route binding. I want to keep using my models in the way that I use already, you know, using updates directly or whatever. However, I want to keep my complex queries, for example, the ones that serve my feed or the ones that serve my list of articles, which are undeniably complicated. I want to keep that isolated on the different folder, okay? Yeah, I love stream earlier, dude. I've been thinking about that, like how much more energized I am when I'm streaming earlier, okay? So looking at this app directory, I think like I'm gonna not obviously review everything, but in hindsight, what I would change is keep the queries abstracted to, not this one, sorry, this one, there we go. That one was pinkery. So the only thing I would do is kind of keep a folder just for queries, implement the actions pattern, and let me see how the test suite is. Okay, nice. The test suite is like perfect. I literally like to have a test per controller, which is quite effectively in my opinion. Okay, this is perfect. Yeah, the test suite is perfect. The only thing I would change is indeed have a queries folder for all the complex queries and implement the action pattern, which is way useful and super useful in the future. This is perfect. Yeah, everything else is literally perfect. Good job here. These are my early insights about your code, okay? Let's move to the second one. What's up, Emily? Nice to see you. Thanos is asking, why not extend your builder? It's typically something I don't do, basically. CVTML streaming earlier. Yeah, I love it. I love it, dude. I love it. What's up, Mateos? Nice to see you, man. Edgar is saying, thank you for all your content. Thank you for being here, man. I love to be here. Chirag is asking, do you suggest using DTOs? I don't like DTOs. I feel like DTOs overall do not actually add any value. You are basically, if you think about DTOs, the difference about DTOs and just regular arguments is that you are passing one argument instead of multiple one. But those multiple arguments will be on a DTO regardless, so I don't think they add a bunch of value, basically. Laravel Cloud uses the action pattern. It does, heavily. It's all based on the action pattern, and it's been working lovely for us. Thank you, Nain. Thank you for saying that. Okay, let's review the second one. Fisal is literally sending me this Pest plugin inside, which is literally a library, so we are no longer working with an application. So let's go here all the way down, and I love to see that everyone is following these teachings that I've been spreading on my live streams, so I can immediately see that this project is using a bunch of tooling, including Director PHP, Pint, PHP stand. What is the level of PHP stand though? Let's check. Level max, absolutely awesome. Good job there. Very good job. Yes, 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 yes. We have past coverage, but without the minimum. Okay, so something I would add here is add a minimum of 100, so you know that you have your entire test suite being covered. I would also add here test type coverage, and to basically ensure that all your project is fully typed, which probably is. So it's a simple project, right? So we have the auto load, which loads all the custom expectations. Nice, kind of expected. Then we have this is your own class though, right? Yes, it is. Which is fully typed. Nothing really crazy here. It's looking good. What is this? Let's read the README. So basically, this custom plugin makes the following methods available to return lowercase. Expect the given files to return an array with lowercase values. Yeah. I do think, personally, that this kind of custom expectations are abstracting away too much logic, meaning that the fact that this expectation behind the scenes is fetching the file, checking if the given content is an array, and then checking if all those elements within the array are lowercase, feels to me that I wouldn't read that from this method name, basically. But, you know, I'm glad you find the value on this thing. Nice. You have basically a test for each one of the expectations with a passing and with a failure. There we go. Okay, this makes sense. Yeah, nothing really crazy to say about this project besides the fact that it's possibly missing type coverage and also missing the minimum of 100 on the code coverage as well. But besides that, nothing crazy really. Ooh. In fact, that is something that I've just noticed that I probably would change. Yeah. Okay, so you see your project. Basically, you have this source directory which auto-loads those custom expectations. All of that is great, actually. However, I see that you have this helpers.php which automatically gets auto-loaded by PHP, meaning that you are loading and adding all these global functions to anyone using your project, okay? Typically, that's not something I would expect from a library, just loading these functions in my project. So something I would recommend you is put this within a namespace so they are only used within your project. To be fair, I would probably even use just a regular class to have this method statically available instead of having global functions. So yeah. Besides that, great project, congratulations. It's cool to see that people are doing Pest plugins. So congratulations on that. And just small remarks on the overall code. Ooh, Laravel Bazooka? Dude. Luiz is saying, sending a hi for people in Brazil. Olá a todos do Brasil. Prometo que vou trazer conteúdo em português nos próximos dias. Eu tenho um canal, o canal Nuno Maduro 3, que contém conteúdo apenas em português e haverá conteúdo no futuro. Shirag is saying, thanks. Do you move similar functions to a separate folder, like include related actions? I don't. I basically have all my actions at root level. Basically, I have app actions, and then I would have all my actions, no matter the domain it is, but all my actions right there. You know what I mean? So no modules, no separate folders, that's it. And it does scale. I'm gonna be honest with you, like people sometimes say it doesn't scale, it does scale, okay? Hopefully we are going to have a project with you know, with some sort of actions code so we can review, okay? Laravel Bazooka from Ludo. Get it. Okay, what this is. Laravel Bazooka is inject cows into your Laravel application with ease. Okay, Laravel Bazooka is a powerful Laravel package that allows you to inject controlled cows in your application. Either you are testing resilience, simulating failures, or just having fun, Bazooka provides a simple and configurable way to descript your application behavior. Okay, so Laravel Bazooka is pretty much a package that allows you to test how resilient your application is. Interesting. So I install the package, I add a service provider, bam, bam, boom. I have this configuration file, which undeniably allows me to configure how I want to test the resilience of my app. And then I just run PHP Artisan Bazooka inject. What's up, John? Nice to see you, man. Oh, you're welcome, man. Okay, took me a while, but I understand now what this is doing. Okay, basically this is a Laravel package where you basically introduce this facade at any point in your app, for example, on this index method, and then you configure what type of, things you want to happen on that particular new line. If you want to introduce a delay of 100 milliseconds or 500, or if you want to throw an exception. And then, there will be a possibility of happening one of these, either latency or an exception. I do understand what this package is doing. I don't think personally I would have the need of using something like this. But let's see some of the code of this, okay? So obviously, it's a Laravel package. So I expect an app service provider, which is this one, which does introduce the configuration file as I would expect. Is using declare strict types on top, which is quite cool, okay? Then I have the manager, which allows me to specify a little bit how I want to use, the chaos class, basically, which might be through a latency description or an exception description. Something really cool here is that apparently there is an interface. I don't even need to check to understand that it is, because I'm able to add different strategies to this manager. This is a great way of basically scale your code, especially on this project. So you have this interface strategy, which only have to have an execute. And from my understanding immediately, the execute of this one will be asleep. There you go. It's so obvious, man. That's why like patterns, basically, they are so good, because you can literally infer the code without even reading the thing, you know what I mean? So I was immediately confident that I would see a sleep here, just because of this contract and because of this basically strategy pattern, you know what I mean? What's up, Houston? Nice to see you, man. How you doing? But yeah, basically, when we talk about design patterns, a very cool thing is that I just know what the code will be doing without even knowing. Like, for example, this one will throw an exception at some point. There we go. Kind of obvious, you know? So one very cool thing about the code I'm about reading right now is that I can just guess where things will be, and it's just obvious for me, okay? Which is cool. One thing I would change here is that every single file which doesn't belong to my source code, I would move it outside to the resources folder, because this is probably the file that gets published by the Bazooka package. So I would move this to the resources stubs folder or whatever, so it gets published from there. Nothing really can be said about this project, really, besides, you know, I would probably never access the configuration facade on a constructor, okay? Something that not a lot of people know about, but like every single time you have a constructor, do not do any sort of runtime operation on the constructor, okay? Otherwise, that constructor is no longer testable, basically. So, in other words, every time you are coding a constructor, never kind of access things outside of the constructor. Just basically set some properties, tops, basically. That's it. okay? What's up, Tukatan? How you doing? Mateusz, can you add that project to the tweet we have, okay? Go to my tweet and basically add them here, okay, if you can, and if you don't mind. I will try to review your code. Just put your projects on this tweet, okay? Yeah, overall looks a good project. Nothing can be said really. Let's see the test suite real quick. Ooh, I see that we don't have a lot of tests. Or we have a few, at least. Yeah, this test suite is not as well organized as I thought. Basically, the code is very well organized. However, the test suite, I would probably make this different. Okay? So, I would probably have a features tests folder, which effectively calls the console layer from there. And then I would kind of replicate a little bit the source directory in my unit directory, okay? Feels a little bit complicated to me to understand where I would add tests on this test suite if I would have to add them, okay? I would probably also avoid to use the globals variable here. Yeah, overall, I feel like it would be better to literally move this outside and kind of have a little bit of more structure in your test suite. But yeah, looks cool. Congratulations, Ludo. Good project here. Next one. This one is a standard library to use in every Laravel, in every project I have. Do we have actually applications? Yeah, let's do this one. Larasonic. I want to kind of focus a little bit on actual apps, not only on packages today, okay? Yacodes is saying that he's a fan of my work from Ethiopia. That's awesome, man. I will check the Pinkery post as well. Okay. I will try as well to focus a little bit this code review more on Laravel code, actually, instead of being just about you know, just about libraries only, okay? I may actually do a full stream on actions if you want to, yeah. I mean, today, hopefully, if we find projects with actions, we can potentially check them, okay? Here's a few, which potentially could lead to a good discussion. Yeah, but let's see. All right, what is Larasonic? Larasonic is a Laravel starter kit. Okay, that's cool. So basically, I would start a project from this starter kit instead of starting from Breeze or Jetstream. What do we have? We have Docker ready. We have advanced authentication. We have payments. We have API ready, customizable UI, AI integration ready, filament, and much more. Interesting. Yeah, this kind of projects, I'm gonna be honest, I feel like they can be very cool for a few people, but at the same time, for people who like to start a little bit more minimal, it might be a little bit too much. For me, for example, I would never start a project with filament, not because filament is bad, it's just because it's just too overwhelming when I'm just getting started, you know? But yeah, for people who are like certain that they will like filament and they would probably need this and this and this and that, probably could be a cool thing. So to get started, I do need to install dependencies through Docker. I don't use Docker, by the way, but I do need to use it through Docker, apparently. Or I can just not use Docker at all, apparently, if I just install it like normal. Ooh, we do have some screenshots. Nice. Is this using Shatsian? Yeah, this is Shatsian, I think. Nice. Shatsian is this new, basically, this is cool though. Nice. Congratulations, dude. This is actually cool. Let's see some of the code, okay? Let's see, for example, if the starter kit is organized in the way that I would like or use myself. Let's start with, for example, the composer.json to see what dependencies do we have. Yeah, so, you know, it does have a little bit too much for my taste, undeniably. Things like Prism, for example, I don't even know what this is, and I don't use this, even though I was the one creating this. I don't use this. I don't use this. I don't use this. I don't use this. Yeah, a little bit bloated in my opinion. Looks cool though. Looks cool, but it's just a little bit too bloated. Oh, we have a nice composer script right here. So vendor bin PHP stan. Okay, this looks cool. What level of PHP stan are we using here? Level max. Wow, this is pretty cool. Okay, having a huge project with level max is actually very surprising. So, which is quite cool. This is a very good point, or a strong point of this starter kit. What else do we have here? So we have Pint, which is cool. Rector as well. Again, just like the other project we checked, I would add type coverage and, you know, the missing toolings we are used to. So type coverage, possibly coverage at level 100 as well here. But let's see some of the code here to see if we have, for example, actions. Okay, this is actually cool. So we have actions, we have enums. I do use these two folders, so I would expect to see only enums here. There we go. This is actually okay. We also have traits. Okay, traits is something that typically I wouldn't have at this level, because typically traits, they impact a single folder, okay? So I would either do something like this. I would have, for example, my concerns at the actions level, or I would have concerns right here, and then actions folder, and then my concern inside. Typically, when I have traits, which I do call concerns, I like to have on the folder structure specified the way where I do apply this trait. You know, for example, looking at this as fake action, I don't know where this trait can be applied on. You know what I mean? So looking at, for example, here I would have to click on this. It's not clear for me what exactly I would apply this concern or this trait. Maybe I would say this is for actions because it is like fake action potentially. So not really sure. I also don't like the fact that this is like fully code coverage ignored. Let's see the actions folder. So we have the Fortify, Jetstream. Let's see the user ones. Okay, declare strict types on top, which is quite cool. And then we are using the configuration facade to have access to all the providers, which is okay. You can access the configuration file or folder whenever you want to. And then I return back the active ones. Just as a small feedback, I also think that actions typically, they are not for getting information, but more about to perform an action that will persist somehow as a result in the database, you know? So for getting stuff out there, I would not use actions. I would typically use actions for actually creating things, updating things, deleting things. So something like this, if it's not the complex query, I would literally keep this on the controller level itself, you know? Okay, this one potentially makes a little bit more sense because I'm effectively doing stuff behind the scenes. All right, so this action is called with this information, which is okay. Nice. And then depending on something, using a match statement and proxying to the correct method, which also makes sense. Yeah, this stuff looks okay. This action right here, for me, it's not an action because I'm not actually doing things. I'm literally making a query, okay? So I would keep this on the controller or whatever the place this got used to, okay? Opinion on Docker? I mean, Docker is okay. I just don't use it locally, that's it. So basically, I'm using Filament at the moment on Pinkery. I just think that, like, if I were to start the project an admin panel would probably came later on the decision. For example, I just added an admin panel for Pinkery probably like after a month of being out. You know what I mean? Code with Rafi, I will review whatever your code is once I find the time. Okay. Just make sure the code is like literally on the tweet I have posted early yesterday. Okay. And Herd is indeed a little bit, you know, it's so easy to use Herd. I love Herd. What do you guys use, by the way, locally? Do you use Docker, Herd, or something else? Just post in the comments. What are you using at the moment? I love the fact that this dude actually is specifying all the array shapes on this code. It's probably the reason why he has PHP standard level max. It's because actually all of the code is fully typed. Something like this means that this array is literally fully typed, which is pretty cool. I also like the fact that he's using the exceptions folder for effectively exceptions, which is quite good. And also reusing the same exception with different messages. This is a great way of doing that as well. So basically, every time you have an exception, but the exception message might change depending on the scenario, instead of like providing the message directly while creating a new instance of the exception, you can literally expose a static function just like this. Very good job here, by the way. Hello, dude. How you doing? Rizio, how you doing? Welcome. Oh, Sail, Docker Valet, Erd. Oh, a lot of people using Sail. That's awesome. Adding an admin panel to existing project. Check my stream on Filament, but Filament is a great way. Filament on Nova for Laravel are great ways of adding a panel, an admin panel. There is a hosted version of this project? That's crazy, man. I want to see the controllers a little bit. So let's go here, for example, to the chat controller. Interesting. This looks okay. He's using inertia? But yeah. Yeah, something as well which I'm not a big fan of is I love inertia, but you are using Filament with Livewire behind the scenes, meaning that both inertia and Livewire are coming to my project, which is something that typically I'm not sure if I'm a fan of as well. This looks cool though, like, you know, code-wise, this code looks like almost perfect, meaning that you are giving a request, grabbing the user, everything is fully typed, which is pretty cool. Yeah, I would recommend you to not use this anymore, dude. I would literally just use comments like you are using here, basically. Nice. I want to see the size of your middleware of inertia. Oh, nice. This is small. Okay. Typically, what I've been noticing, on people who work with inertia, is that the handle inertia requests just become huge over time. And I see that yours is not huge. It's actually pretty small. So congratulations on keeping this small. Go to this one. Okay, I'm gonna send to you, okay? This is the tweet where I am literally keeping a list of projects. All right, let's see, for example, a job. By the way, in terms of you know, coding style, I like to code my apps literally this way. So declare strict types on top, final classes, you know, everything is fully typed, which is awesome. I'm also, you know, seeing here things like read only, which, you know, they are awesome as well. Yeah, coding style wise, it does look okay, to be honest. So overall, oh, this is pretty cool as well. This is pretty cool. The fact that you have literally all those annotations on top of your models, it's pretty cool as well. Oh, how is the test suite, by the way? Okay, you keep everything under the feature, and then you have literally a mimication of your source directory. Hmm. Oh, I see. This is literally the tasks that come with Breeze or Jetstream, right? Yeah. Okay. Something that I would possibly recommend to you is that I would possibly move this or convert a little bit these tasks, just like this ones, you know what I mean? So potentially move the Jetstream task suite to some sort of organization that looks a little bit more like this one. Yeah. Exactly. I would move the Jetstream test suite to something that looks a little bit more like this, basically. So everything looks the same. Otherwise, looks like I have my Jetstream test here and like the layer that you have added on top right here. You know what I mean? So my overall review about this project is the following. If you are someone who is looking to exactly these requirements, you know, literally using all of this stuff, it's probably a good thing for you, you know, because it's indeed, you know, a good starter kit. But you need to kind of like everything here, you know. You need to be in agreement with everything opinionated on this project. Also comes with Telescope. Yeah, it comes with a bunch of opinions. So, you know, if you're looking for something more minimal, this is probably not the thing to use. But if you're using for something that just comes with a bunch of opinions, it's probably a good starter kit for you. Ooh, what do we have here? So this is the app service provider, which contains, if you are locally and the Telescope class exists, let's register Telescope. Okay, this is cool. Literally register Telescope only and only if you are locally. Otherwise, you won't register Telescope. Oh, nice. Then we have here something I have been recommending a little bit, which is literally configure, you know, some of the defaults in Laravel. So we have carbon immutable, nice, which is cool. This is literally configuring the scrap documentation, which I don't use and I don't know what it is. Then we have pre-bit description commands in production, which is also nice. We have models should be strict in unguard them, which is something I use as well. Force HTTPS in production, pretty cool. I like to force HTTPS all over the place, even locally, by the way. So here, for example, I just force all over the place. Configure Vite to use aggressive prefetching. I also use this. And configure rate limiting. Interesting. Okay, this I don't use. I just stick with the defaults. So I do use Sentry. I just don't use Sentry on my side projects. Okay, so I use like professionally on some of my projects we are using Sentry, but as a side project, I don't actually use Sentry because I default to cost savings. So so Sentry is a little bit I don't know. It's probably expensive if for the side project, Dasun is saying that Force HTTPS was contributed by myself. Congratulations, dude. That's awesome. All right, folks. Let's terminate the review of Larasonic. I feel like it's big enough that probably it's worth a live stream about this, to be honest, because it's literally big. My overall review is the following. If you are looking for a starter kit that comes with a bunch of opinions in a bunch of things, this is probably a good start for you. Otherwise, if you're not sure yet about the features you are going to have, if you're not sure about, some of the technology you are going to use, it's probably too much. But, overall a great project. Congratulations to Pushback1300 for this project. Let's give a start to Pushback. All right, what else we have? Pushback is saying that you can remove the stuff you don't want to. Yeah, I see. Jeremy, what's up? Oh, thank you so much for saying that. I really appreciate it. Thank you. PHP Dev 100 just sent me a link of Just Actions demo. What is this? Okay, what else we have? Oh my god, I wish some of you have sent me like actual apps. Most of you are sending me like packages today. HL is asking, are you more excited or nervous about the Laravel cloud launch? I'm happy, man. Like, we are ready, We are literally ready. Today I went to the office from home, from Slack basically. And I feel like we are ready, like there is nothing left to do, at least for the release. Okay, Patricio is sending me an app. Let's see the app. All right. It's called Rubber Duck, which is an app. It's an app to talk to Rubber Duck and get answers. What is a Rubber Duck? Is this like a joke that I'm not getting? Of course. Okay. Okay. Something that I would recommend to João immediately, just looking at this README, is I would probably just instantly say that this is a prompt chat kind of application, and then probably jump into this kind of jokes like Rubber Duck is a good listener, you can talk to it, blah blah blah. I'll probably just do immediately some sort of putting everyone like managing expectations and just say this is a prompt like application. For example, if I go to my project Pest PHP, the first thing I read here is this is a PHP testing framework right there. So it's immediately clear to me what this project is about. This is a PHP testing framework, and no matter what comes after this, things will be clear, because if it's a PHP testing framework, there is so much this project can be about, basically, So something I would do here is, before jumping into things like this, talk to the rubber duck, blah, 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 I would just immediately say, this is a Laravel application, just like, you know, ChatGPT or whatever, but runs locally. That's probably what I would do here. This is a Laravel application, just like ChatGPT, but self-hosted or whatever. I would just immediately jump into that description instead of, you know, making jokes. However, the screenshot actually helps a lot. Like, the screenshot gives you like a prompt, and you can send messages, see the output, which is kind of cool. So we have the instructions, which is quite nice. They are obvious instructions. So copy the .env, run composer install, do this, that, blah, blah, blah. Quite cool. And then run composer dev to see immediately this tool locally. So this is okay, actually. We don't have API keys. That's surprising. Oh, nice. This runs actually locally. There is no actual, you know, API being used behind the scenes. Interesting. Pushback is asking if Dubai Laravel meetup is on. Dude, I'm just waiting for someone to tell me I have a company with an office. Come here by 7 p.m. on this day, and we just basically take care of everything. So if you are from there and you have an idea around that, just let me know. Use dark mode? No. I'm gonna use light mode. I will hopefully review a bunch of those projects on my tweet. Let's see how it goes, okay? What time is it? Yeah, we are just 1 hour in. We are okay. Patricio is saying, this is an app chat with code base, gathers info about local files, prepares for AI prompts. Yeah, basically, João, that's what I would do here. Immediately just tell to people, you know, with existing tools, what this app is about. I feel like if we would write here something like, this is some kind of ChatGPT that you can have locally, that you can self-host, immediately talks to people, you know? Anyways, let's see some of the code here. Ooh, nice code structure here. I see actions, DTOs, tip tap, which I don't know what it is. We're going to jump into this real soon. Then we have this root level rubber duck. Okay. Let's see the actions folder. Okay, so possibly rubber duck wasn't made to be some sort of, you know, thing like production ready. That's why probably we're seeing DDs in the middle of the code. But typically here, what I would expect if this were to be like a production app, I probably would expect this to effectively throw an exception, so the user do not see a DD, for example. But obviously this wasn't made to be like production ready, basically, I think. Regarding catching exceptions, something I'd like to recommend to people is never catch exceptions like globally, global exceptions. So here, for example, if you are reading a JSON file, I would probably use some sort of exception that matches only this particular statement, not like the exception global one, okay? Also, I see that João is using actions for getting information. We talked about this on the previous review, where actions, for me at least, they are only for, you know, things that persist information potentially, like actual code that will call updates on the database or things like that. I haven't seen actions being used for queries effectively, so I would potentially move this stuff to a queries folder. Okay. What is this? DTOs. A bunch of you have asked me about DTOs, and I told you my opinion about DTOs. I think it's fine, like, if you use DTOs in your Laravel applications effectively. I feel it's a question of consistency. Like, if you start using DTOs, make sure you use them all over the place. But overall, I'm not a big fan of DTOs because I just feel like they don't add a bunch of value if they are used all the time. Potentially, I would see the value of using something like a DTO if you have a bunch of arguments and you kind of want to keep them all in the same object so they can navigate around without using too much memory. Because effectively, not a lot of people know about this, but if you provide a string as an argument to another method, you are doing a copy in memory effectively. And when you are using DTOs, you are just passing a reference, which, you know, it's a small performance engagement to your code. Okay. Phil is saying, "Hi Nuno, great to be back after a long break from my side." I'm missing Panelize. Any progress? Love the project so much. Yeah, I mean, now it's called Penstorm, which is right here. We've made progress, but then I kind of lost the motivation. I should be back into it soon, okay? I should probably be back into it soon. So now it's called Penstorm, okay? There we go. I'll probably be back into it soon. So we have enums, which is a very cool thing to have in your Laravel applications. Enums that simply work, you know, this way. It is quite cool. Helpers, what this is. I tend to keep my helpers folder within my support folder. It's just a naming thing, but when I have anything that supports any sort of module on my app, I like to call that folder support, basically. Which effectively is the same thing as helpers, to be honest. So just a question of naming. But then, yeah, we have static calls, which effectively give something and return something back, which is effectively an helper. So all good on the helpers thing. We don't have any controllers, so I would assume everything is either being done by Livewire and on this welcome class, which is a Livewire component. Okay. So if I go to Livewire, I should have a pages folder with a welcome view, which returns the welcome view. In the welcome view, it's possibly using a bunch of components, including a talk one. Do not forget, my friends, never use the env function directly in your project. If this project uses something like PHP artisan config cache, what will happen here is that this env function will return null. Okay? So keep that in mind. Miguel Pereira is saying, "What's up, Nuno? I love your work on YouTube. Do you have any configuration in PHP Storm available?" I don't, dude. Not yet, basically. Okay. You're welcome, Phil. What's up, Verma? How you doing? Not doing anything with Laravel. Today I'm just reviewing code, basically. Yeah, from my understanding, what João tried to do here is literally having some sort of POC that runs locally and, you know, gives you access to interact with an AI. Now, a question that I do have about this project is where that AI comes from. Because obviously, when I go to the README, I don't see any app keys or API keys. So does this run locally? Potentially, right? Yeah, Christian, potentially we are going to do that today as well, yeah. Code with Raf is saying, are going to review beginners projects also? Yeah, man, send me a link. Hopefully we are going to review some of that. Yeah, it's also missing tests. Yeah, overall, I feel like Jean did a great job here, putting himself out there with a project which is a self-hosted version of ChatGPT, which is awesome. Obviously not yet to be like production ready for sure. Hopefully we are going to see this out there one day. Does this have any sort of JavaScript code? Oh, it does. Vue.js, interesting. I was trying to understand like if this AI runs locally or not. Aha! Yeah, use whatever Prism have configured. Gotcha. Interesting. So it does use Prism behind the scenes, right? It doesn't? I'm confused. Yeah, he's effectively using this Anthropic thing, which it's like an AI, right? Yeah. It does need an API key somehow. That API key comes from my configuration folder. Yeah, it's not here either. Yeah, so something I would change here is probably the information that we need an API key to interact with the AI. Yeah, uses Anthropic, right? Yeah. Code with Ralphie is saying that I've sent you the link in the GitHub for beginner project. Interesting. What is that, by the way? Right here? Let's move on. We have this one from Shinmei Purav, which is a penny expense manager. So an app which is a penny expense manager. Okay. A penny expense manager is built around the idea of an expense tracker for a family. Okay, this description is actually pretty cool. So basically, it's an app which allows me to track my expenses. When living as a family, you would want to track all your family incomes and expenses in a single place with an option to view individual level or at the group level. And this is using Filament at its core. Requires PHP 8.2, MariaDB. Interesting. Probably can use MySQL here as well, right? Redis and an email server. For local development, use Herd. For deployment, use Docker. Okay. I would add here the installation instructions. So I would assume I have to copy some .env anywhere, you know what I mean? Like I have to run composer install, possibly npm run install as well. So it's definitely missing here. Oh, it's right here. Is this? Yeah, it's definitely missing here the installation instructions, unless I have missed them. Okay, but let's see some of the code here. So he does have CI running, which is very interesting and important. We do have an app directory with a bunch of things. So I don't see actions, which is not necessarily a problem. It's just something that people, you know, do a little bit differently. I see observers, which is what I do try to fight back when I'm using actions. So let's see the controllers, kind of the entry points. There is none, interesting. So there is probably live wire things here. Or filament things, yeah. Oh, here we go. Yeah, I get this. So basically, because we are using filament, any sort of action or whatever would be defined on the filament itself. Exactly. So if I go, for example, to account resource, I would see like, you know, if I would have actions, they would be like this did somewhere here. Yeah, the actions would be on the filament if you have any, right? This looks a filament app though, which I'm not sure I will be able to provide you any insight whatsoever. Let me see if you have a bunch of tests on this thing. Oh, you do. That's important. It does look like, I'm gonna be honest with you, it does look like a very well-coded filament application, you know? From my side, at least. At least if I go to app, I can see like this filament folder with a bunch of different resources, super well organized as well. So if I go to incoming resource, I have the create income page. It is a very filament-ish application, so... Oh, there we go, the actions we were talking about, basically. If I go to create action, for example, which lives at filament applications level. Wait, what? Filament actions, create action. Oh, it's something from filament itself. Interesting. I didn't know that filament provided actions like natively. Interesting. It does, I mean, it looks a very well-coded filament application. I mean, what could I say about this? Like, literally, you know? It is, I mean, filament is a framework, you know, almost a framework, which you cannot go and do things differently. It looks okay, basically, you know? Yeah, Chin, it looks a good project, man. There is nothing I can say about this. Let's see the jobs folder, for example. Create periodically balance entry job. So this runs every now and then. We'll fetch all the accounts and create a balance for yesterday. Interesting. For some reason, I also do this. I know this is like useless, but for some reason, to get really good auto completion, sometimes I do this as well. So instead of starting with where immediately, I also start with query. Does any of you guys does this as well? Like literally starting with the query thing instead of starting with the where condition? Or I am the only one? Some of you also do that? For aesthetical reasons. Oh my god, I'm not the only one. I'm so happy. Oh, really? Pushback said that he has that as rector rule. That's crazy. I'm so surprised. I thought I was the only one. But for some reason, like, even for Laravel auto completion with PHP Storm, it just feels makes more sense, basically, you know? Exactly. Oh my god. A bunch of you also, you know, agree with me on this one, which is awesome. Dude, from my side, looks a very well-coded filament application, you know, something that I'll probably also do myself like this, at least on the filament side, you know. You also have enums with methods, which is pretty cool, okay? I would recommend you guys to literally rethink a little bit. Sometimes you do enums. You can literally have methods on your enums, which is pretty cool. So here, for example, I can get the ID, I can get the path, I can get the home URL, which is pretty cool. Yeah, dude. Oh my god. Exactly what I don't like about observers, you know? This thing, dude, I'm gonna tell you, okay? Observers, in general, you might think they are okay. I can tell you, something like this, over time, is just a nightmare to handle. Especially, I'm gonna give you an example. If you are doing operations on an account model, and suddenly you need to kind of update something, but you didn't account that updating something like that will trigger this is dirty, then we'll have all these side effects happening, okay? That's why I like actions so much, because I feel like the not using actions will lead to use something like events in your application, and observer is effectively using events. And then we'll end up with things like this. This is exactly the problem I had on Pinkery. Do you guys want to see? So if I go to Pinkery, oh my god. If I go to Pinkery, this is effectively what I have tried to avoid. So if I go to app, observers, question observer, check this out, dude. If it's dirty, then do this. If it's not dirty, then do that. And if it's whatever, dude, just becomes a nightmare. Sometimes you want to update things and, you know, you have all these side effects happening because you have all these events listening to the things. Yeah, so I don't know, maybe I'm actually have this genuine question, like, does any of you thinks that using observers is a good idea? And if yes, did you find ways of going around these things, like using is dirty or using things like this? Because for me, at least on Pinkery, that's what I found out, is that over time this is a pain to maintain, basically. Lars is saying that I've been rethinking it since because it introduced a massive bug on the client project. You see? Phil is using I use them and I love them, but I use the isDirt team. Yeah. Yeah, dudes. So overall, I don't like events. I feel like events, they lead to side effects, and side effects that you cannot control. So, you know, that's something that jumps to me when reviewing this code, is that he's using events, and I find events very hard to maintain over time. Okay, events, observers, they're the same thing effectively. Annas, you said you have nothing better to do than this. Wait, what? You have nothing to do better than this. You can handle logic in a different way, but you always need to use if it's dirty. So this is what I'm saying, is that you can effectively not use events at all, basically. Not use events. That's it. Also, a little thing that I think events are a little bit a nightmare is regarding visibility. Like, if I were to have an action which says, you know, for example here, the action would be compute initial date or set initial date or create initial date or whatever, then I would see, like, on the action all the side effects of changing something like that. However, here I can do this whatever is the place in my code, and this side effect of incrementing the balance will just act without me even knowing it. So anyways, I think I have mentioned this multiple times. Not a big fan of events, and you know, I would technically like to avoid them. Ooh, services folder. What this is about? Oh, you just do queries? Okay. Yeah, typically queries would go to a queries folder, not to a services folder. Yeah, okay. So the only thing I would do here is rename this services folder to queries, and each one of those queries would return back a complicated query, like the recurring income. You know what I mean? So it would give the arguments to the builder, and you would basically return back a query builder constructed with all your arguments, basically. Okay. Or the builder pattern. Both are okay, dude, to be honest. Official is saying, it seems to me more like a repository to me. I don't use a repository pattern. Thank God I haven't seen it yet, because again, the repository pattern kind of, the goal behind it is that every single interaction you have with your models would go through the repository pattern, which is something I technically like to avoid. You know, I like to use my models directly and literally enjoy all the power that Laravel gives me, you know. Anyways, great project here. I feel like the filament implementation is top-notch, so congratulations on this. What else? I would like to avoid this observers folder. So if you can avoid this observers folder. The services folder seems to me to be more about a queries folder, so technically a place where you have your complex queries. And regarding the test directory, it is well tested and organized, which is exactly what I would expect. Good job here, man. Congratulations. How is the test suite, though? Okay, no composer scripts. Are we running PHP Stan? I don't think we are. Oh, okay. Something I would do here is have PHP Stan for type safety, is have past PHP type coverage for giving you, you know, the certitude that you are using types all over the place. Yeah, the test suite seems to be only running the, you know, your unit tests and feature tests. So here I would have, you know, much more tooling like Pint, PHP Stan, you know, all the things we have been talking about, basically. Yeah, the repository pattern doesn't fit well anything, really. No, I was just kidding with you. Definitely doesn't fit Laravel, to be honest, okay? I'm happy that most of you are in the same line as me, that observers are a nightmare. So thank you for saying that. You know, I'm glad that we are on the same page. Okay, next project. Oh, I lost my tweet, dude. Give me a second. Okay, do you guys have any like Laravel applications we can just review real quick? Oh my god. Let's see this one. Okay, this is a package from Index 0 and is an eloquent filtering package. Okay, I think overall, I'm gonna be honest with you, I feel like overall I like packages which provide an abstraction layer to eloquent. So you know, like for example the Laravel query builder, this is the most underrated package. This one. This is the most underrated package you will ever find in Laravel. Like, this is so useful. Have you guys ever used this package? Dudes, this is one of the best packages in the world. Tell me that you guys have used this in the past, please, for God's sake. Sir Mathis is saying, I use this package almost every time. Islam as well. Nice. Thank God. Thank God, some yeses. Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, this package is literally lifesaver. Okay, so if you have, for example, I'm going to just tell you up front, if you have something that has like filtering, have a search, and then you can filter by posts, then you can, you know, do whatever, this kind of things, you know. So Query Builder from Spatie is just top notch, dude. Top notch. I have used this stuff, it's just top notch. Okay. Spatie is the GOAT, yeah. Okay, let's review the Index 0. So when I look at eloquent filtering, I immediately think about the Spatie Query Builder, but maybe it's not that, okay? So easily filter eloquent models using arrays. Great for filtering from HTTP requests, which is a little bit like what Spatie Query Builder is doing. So eloquent filtering, great logo, okay? Love the logo. Love the way it's presented just below. Coverage 100%, very nice, very nice. Eloquent filtering simplifies implementing search functionalities in your eloquent models, either are simple or complex, by eliminating the need of custom logic. You can easily define or manage filters. Yeah, looks a little bit like... It looks a little bit like Spatie Query Builder. Which is okay. I mean, if you guys are doing a package, it can't look like other packages out there. That's perfectly fine, you know? Just give your own taste into it. So basically, I can specify the allowed filters directly in my model. Interesting. So this is a model, and I'm saying that this model is filterable. So I'm specifying how can I filter my model directly in my model, which is something I'm not sure I like, but let's see. Oh, got you. Then I can just simply interact with the product model to filter by these things. Interesting. Let's view the docs. Oh my God, that's a lot of documentation. Let's see. Now let's go here to a very simple use case. So it's the only thing this is doing is provide like a filter, that's it. Oh, okay. Basically, this is like allows me to have complex queries, basically. Okay, I see. Nice, okay. Okay, here is a big example. So I can specify my allowed filters within my model, and I can filter this model by the relation manufacturer. It has to have the given manufacturer, and then I allow to filter as well by name. And when I provide the name, the provided filter will be like. Okay, so I see what this is doing. It's effectively different from the query builder from Spatie. And what am I doing here is kind of providing an API called it filter, which I can just simply provide an array. And behind the scenes, the values of that array will kind of filter differently my model depending of my configuration of the allowed filters. So it looks useful, basically. It looks useful. Not sure if I would use it, but it looks useful. Let's see the actual code. So how we are on testing. I saw 100% of code coverage, which is awesome. Congratulations on that. So we have past PHP, you have PHP stand, we have coverage without minimum, which is something you probably want to add. And we are missing type coverage, but we have pint. That's awesome. Yeah, here you are missing PHP stand, pint, and many. Oh, here we go. Okay. You are still. Maybe this one? Yeah, this is the one. Gotcha. So pint, PHP stand, and past are being run, which is awesome. Okay. And also running the architectural plugin. Yeah, I would just add type coverage here. This is the only thing missing, at least testing wise. How about the code itself? So we have contracts, which is quite nice. We have the console. We have the filter layer, which basically lists all filters, which is awesome. I would rename this filter to filters, okay? Because here you have rules, utilities, contracts, and also filters, in my opinion. Even this one, I would rename this to sorts, basically. And possibly move this suppression, whatever this thing is, to the support directory. Yeah. Service provider at root level, exactly what I would expect. Looks cool here. So utilities, this is our support folder or helpers folder. We have the filters, which contains all the filters allowed me to configure the allowed filters. We have the contracts folder. What are the console layer though? Oh, it's just basically to publish stubs. Gotcha. I would expect these filters to obey to a contract though. Yeah, if I have like, for example, allowed filters or allowed modifiers, do I have like a contract anywhere? Interesting. Yeah, you see this get method? Oh, allowed types. There we go. That's the contract. If I go to... Oh, it's within filtered contracts. Interesting. Okay. Something I would change here is, you see this contracts folder? I would keep it at root level. And within, I would have a filter folder which contains all of the contracts of my filter folder. You know, so we don't end up with different contracts folders on the projects, basically. But besides that, this does look what I would expect. Yeah, feels like, you know, goes in line with Spatie Creative Builder, but you're literally allowed to specify a bunch of different filters. So congratulations, okay? The code seems well organized. Nothing, you know, nothing I could say that would massively change how good the project is already. I could, you know, say some tiny bits, but overall looks very well organized. I like the fact that you also keep the future ideas at the project level. I'm gonna give you something that it's just key regarding documentation, okay? If you have documentation that is about your web application or about your library, just keep that close to the code, okay? From experience, if you don't keep the documentation literally being committed on the repo itself, documentation will be lost. If you're keeping things like Notion, on Google Drive, you know, this sort of platforms out there for docs, it just becomes messy. People will forget about that. And it's just big, okay? So here's a tip for you, a top level tip for you. Just create, like this guy have done, a docs folder and keep your documentation right here in your code where everyone sees it every single day. When there is no questions where the documentation should go, literally docs folder in your project itself. Bam, boom, no questions asked, you know, right there in front of you. From experience, I have never been in a company where documentation was a nightmare because everyone likes to use different tools like Notion, Google Drive, Basecamp, or other kind of things. And over time, it's just documentation all over the place, and there is not a single place where you can literally understand where the documentation is. So just keep a docs folder within your project itself, and that's it. Just works. What do you guys think about this? I'm being crazy right now? Mosa9797 is asking, are you also reviewing TypeScript repos? Yeah, dude, send me a TypeScript repo and I will review it for you. Internal Constellation is saying we don't have any documentation. The head of IT is our documentation. Okay, that's not good, dude. I'm gonna be honest. Like, if you want to be a very good professional, you need to make yourself replaceable. I know it looks stupid to say, but if you feel that you know too much about a specific domain in your company, do your job and start documenting what you do. Do your job by asking other people to come next to you and show them how you do things, you know? It's not good that you are very good doing something and you also talk about that like as a good thing. Like if you say, I'm the only one able to do this, for example, I'm the only one able to do that. That's not a good thing. It means that you are not actually doing your job, sharing knowledge, you know? Marco1984, thank you so much for resubscription tier 1 for 2 months already. I really appreciate your support, by the way. You guys know me. I just reinvest all of the money I do on Twitch and YouTube. You can support my work financially by literally subscribing my channel on YouTube and get early access to all videos. But also, you can become a subscriber on Twitch. If you use Prime, it's literally for free. So, as I was saying, a general advice for you is that if you know too much about a particular domain, share with your colleagues. You know, have a call with your colleagues. Just explain them like how you do things. You know. In that way, you will actually be valuable for your company. Oh, thank you, Islam. I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, but that being said, great project here. I love the fact that documentation is just next to the repo. This is awesome. Right there. Docs folder. Bam, done. Okay. This is awesome. Looks a good project. Congratulations. Okay. How is this pint JSON doing? Okay. Very cool as well. I have a particular pint.json file with a bunch of rules that this project likes to have. Congratulations, dude. Okay, folks, what else we have today? I want more projects. Send me your projects right now. I'm going to choose one. It's literally impossible to, go to the tweet and find projects there. So maybe you guys can send me. Okay, let's see this one. The next one is from E. Ralphie, and it's called Laravel Projects. And what this is the following: multiple Laravel projects for beginners and advanced developers. In here, you can find more than 25 projects. Interesting. So it's literally a project. Oh, multiple Laravel projects. Gotcha. How about this one in particular that I'm watching at the moment? Just all of them are in the same project, or what am I missing here? Kunu is asking, Nuno, your OpenAI PHP client hasn't been updated for 2 months. I'd like to know if the project is still maintained. Yeah, it is. And if there will be any changes on the maintenance plan. I mean, the project is active. API endpoints of OpenAI don't change that much, So the project just works, and potentially if there is any feature that you think are missing, let me know. Oh, send me that vanilla PHP project. I'm curious about that. All right, so what this project is about, though. Oh, this is a project that lists Laravel projects? I'm confused. Okay, so one thing about this repo is it's literally difficult for me to understand what this project is about. So here we have Laravel projects on top. Here we have multiple Laravel projects for beginners and advanced developers. And you can find more than 25 projects. But this particular one I'm watching right now, what is this exactly? So, I don't know. This project is a tutorial for beginners. Interesting. Okay. I'm gonna try to review some of the code I find, okay? It's difficult for me to review this code because I don't know what the project is even about. So, seems to be about a lot of things, but what I was expecting here, just to make you understand, is something like this. This project is a SaaS where you can upload your files, or this project is a user management tool, or this project is a place where you can do this and that. And it's just, it's missing definitely some description, that's for sure. Anyways, I'm gonna provide you some insights about, for example, a specific controller. Let's go here, for example, to the countries controller, for example. Okay, so this is a countries controller which has an index method, which potentially, when I look at countries controller index method, the first thing I think about is returning either multiple countries or something else. But let's see. I can search by a given value. This is like the perfect use case for something like Spatie Query Builder, by the way. Oh my god, this is so dangerous, dude. You see this? This is like insanely dangerous right now. Actually, even like this is dangerous. So I'm gonna just teach you something. Every time you access your request layer without any sort of validation, you are putting yourself in the dangers of runtime exceptions, okay? So here, for example, I'm getting a simple request, okay? And this request is like not validated. It comes from Laravel, literally, okay? Here, I'm assuming that the search will be an array, which contains a value, which might not be the case. So here I can see a runtime exception happening if the user tweaks the query parameters, literally, on the URL. Same goes right here. You are assuming that we have multiple orders thanks to this 0 key. If you don't have, it will be a runtime exception. You are also assuming that it's a column or a dir. So multiple problems here regarding runtime exceptions that may happen on your code, okay? Then you are doing a query to your eloquent model. So nothing really bad about this in particular. You are conditionally making a query, which does look okay. And if you have a search, you will literally provide a like search, which in hindsight, some people say that sometimes doing a like is a bad thing, but you don't. If you have a controlled space of database rows, it's actually okay. You can literally use the like, you know. But I love, by the way, Code with Rafi, I love that you have submitted this project, because this type of code is exactly what I like to analyze. It's exactly what I like to review. Because if people are sending me projects already knowing that I'm going to tell good things about the project, it's okay. But in your case, you are literally sending me a project where you genuinely want to improve as a developer. And I feel like there's a lot of people on the audience here who have code like this, and you should also send me a project so I can literally give you good feedback, okay? So just as a general rule, what you have to do here is, it's okay that you access the information like this. Just be sure you have a form request right here that validates all the input, you know what I mean? So here, for example, what I would do here is the following. I would create a form request with a name, list countries request. Okay, so this would be list countries request, and within that form request, I will ensure that search is an array and has have a value key, and I would validate all this input. So then, when you reach this line 12, you already know that you have valid information of the request, and you can literally move forward a little bit, you know. So if the information on the request is valid, all of this stuff is okay, you know. So like this code effectively looks okay. I probably will do a little bit different with Spastic Query Builder potentially, but it does look okay. Then, assuming that all goes okay, when you have a search, we'll do a like, which is okay. Sometimes you may hear people saying like is not performant. Dude, if you have like 100 lines in your database, who cares? Like will be insanely performant, okay? And then you order by the given information of the request, which also looks okay. You compute the count, which is also okay, so you have the total. And then you do pagination this way. Interesting. It's not necessarily bad. However, you can literally use the Laravel collections paginate. Are you familiar with that? Okay, you see this? You could literally have done something like this. You do the query. So instead of getting the elements, where I am. Yeah, you see this thing? Instead of getting the elements on the pagination, instead, you would keep the query builder and you would just call paginate with the number of elements you want to paginate. And automatically, Laravel will just add the information to the JSON response. You can send the URL in the chat here. I'm going to ask for the project in the next 5 minutes, and you can literally, you know, send the link to the chat. Dude, I want everyone to clap for code with eRafi, because literally this is the best project we could ever received for a validation, because it does contain code that every single Laravel developer does today. So congratulations, okay? I love this because this is exactly where we can provide good feedback. And because of that, I'm going to review another controller. Let's see this one, to-do controller. All right, let's see this one. This one is called a to-do controller. And what it does is the following. You basically have a to-do controller where you have an index. Funny enough, the problem about not validating the request does not apply here, because I'm pretty sure that if you do get in the parameter is not there. Oh, actually this may cause problems. So this is a little bit the difference or the same problem as the previous code. If the person gives you an array here, this is funny, but literally through query parameters, people can give you an array here. So this will be an array, meaning that this condition will be true, and you will be sending an array here, which will cause, again, a runtime exception. So as a general rule, folks, keep this in mind. Always, but like always validate your input. Like always. The request input, always validated through form requests. Always. Lipris is saying this code is really from a noob Laravel dev. Dude, don't say that. That's not nice. I have write code like this. If this is from a noob, I am a noob as well. I have wrote code like this in the past, okay? Which one of us haven't wrote code like this at some point in our careers? Respect, dude, like literally, you know, everyone writes code like this in some point in your life. So I can tell you something. I can tell you something though. There is people who have write code like this, and they still continue to write code like this because they never ask, you know. So because we have a project like this, because of him, we are literally teaching a lot of people on the audience about how code should be written. Oh, me too, dude. Multiple times. Exactly. Okay, let's keep going. I like these code reviews like this. Let's go. So here we need to validate the input, obviously. Here there's another problem, okay? Right here. You see this to do all? What happens if you have 1,000 to-dos? It's something that you sometimes may, you know, sometimes you may actually validate this elsewhere, but if you don't validate the number of to-dos you have, this can potentially occur in the problem, which is you are returning too much information. So for example, if you have 1,000 to-dos, for example, this will return effectively 1,000 to-dos, which will not be performant for the browser to render right here. So you want to return this, but paginated. So the person consuming this API can effectively paginate through your items and get them all. You know what I mean? I would potentially use, so if I were to validate this request, I would use request string indeed here. Exactly, Joel. Great point. And actually, like, asking for help, asking for code reviews, asking for opinions in your own code, it's something that with age, people tend to do less and less, you know? That's when you stop progressing, like literally. For example, I'm a PHP developer, a Laravel developer, and suddenly I have all this JavaScript ecosystem progressing a bunch. We have seen like stuff like TypeScript, you know, React, Vue, and like literally a bunch of JavaScript evolutions. And if you are a grumpy PHP developer, your reaction is, I don't need to learn that, you know? I don't want to ask people to teach me that. And suddenly you are outdated because you need to know JavaScript at this point. If you are building a modern application for the web, you need to learn JavaScript. So you need to literally say, I don't want, dude. I don't know. Can you teach me? You know what I mean? So for PHP, it's a little bit the same thing. You can do code, but if you don't ask, you will never evolve, you know? Grumpy PHP developer is grumpy, right? Like saying grumpy is a real word, right? Grumpy means like being old and dinosaur, right? Basically, right? Let me know if grumpy is a real thing. I don't even know. Yeah, here for example, this is also a little... Oh, to-do request. Now we have a form request. Nice. Okay, let's see the form request. So basically here, by the way, before we jump into the form request, something I would do here is instead of doing new to-do, I would effectively use the to-do update, and then I would provide the new update. There is multiple things here I would do differently. For example, I would provide a cast on the completed to a boolean, so then I would provide false here instead of 0. I feel like 0 is an integer, while false is a boolean that effectively translates what completed is about. Also, about completed, I would do is underscore completed to give the intent that this is effectively a boolean, okay? Grumpy is a bad-tempered and irritable. Oh, okay. I thought like Grumpy would be like a dinosaur PHP developer or whatever. Okay, old PHP developer, that's what I meant. Oh, some people are asking like what did I meant about request string? So basically here, dude, I'm gonna literally copy paste this code and write the code by myself. Okay, so I'm gonna type here to-do controller. Let's effectively just fix everything, okay? Not fix, sometimes the code is literally working, but make it better, that's what I meant. Oh my god, what am I doing? Oh, increasing the font. So I was working on Cloud literally 2 hours ago, and something I always do is just put the font a little bit smaller. But for the live stream, I have to put the font a little bit bigger, so... There we go. Let's put this to 24. All right, so to-do controller. I like the name of the controller. To-do is okay. I like some comments sometimes. You guys want to do that? I don't know. So here we need a form request. So that would be HTTP. Let's actually use a terminal to this. PHP artisan make form. Want to do that? I don't know. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do it this way actually. So this would be list to do request form. The information will be validated, and something you can do here is instead of doing get, you can do string value or string only. Okay, this will effectively cast whatever is there to a string, even if it's already a string because of the form request. Something really cool is that PHP stand will immediately understand that this is a string, so you don't need to do anything like this if you are at level max, basically. Okay, so you just do this. Finally, you call to do, where the to do is equal to that. Yeah, but something I would do differently here is the following. I would potentially do this. To-dos. If you have a search by that where, I would remove the get, and here I would return the query. Okay. Ooh, I would actually do it this way. Check this out. This is sexy, okay? Sexy stuff right here. To-dos equals to to-do query when is not null, the search. I would apply the search condition. This will be a query builder from Laravel. This one. I would even like literally, yeah, chain this. Maybe, yes, no, yeah, chain. FN. Then I would do query, like, I would put 3 arguments just below. There we go. Okay. Like this. And finally, I would return this and paginate with 20 elements. Oh my god. I would do it this way. What do you guys think about this? Change the is null to not null. Yeah, thank you, thank you. Would you guys solve the problem this way or not? I think I would. Are you welcome, dude? Code with Irafi. Are you okay if I continue to refactor some of the code below? Some of these methods? I feel like I just love the content that you just put to us here. So let me know. What is... Mohammed is asking, what if no results? It's okay. Like, literally, the response will be formatted and properly displayed to have no results, basically. Football Maniac is saying, I would use the action pattern. Dude, I talked about this already. I don't think the action pattern is valuable on get operations because you are not effectively performing actions on the system. You are literally fetching information from your database. That's it. You are not performing actions on the system. We can use the actions pattern right here. Okay. So on this store, let's do one thing. Let's literally use the actions pattern on this store though. Okay. So I'm going to do the following. I'm going to have this public function store and I'm going to refactor this and then use the actions pattern. Okay. You are the legend, Wirafi. You are the legend, dude. Okay, folks, let's refactor this one now, the store, okay? The store, I would probably do it this way. So assuming, and again, assuming the to-do request is effectively validating everything, let's actually check that it's the case. So if I go here to the requests, the to-do request, it's not validating the is completed, I think. Oh, it doesn't need to. Okay, cool. So this is actually okay. I would do a couple of things here, okay? When you're validating input, you need to go a little bit deeper than just string, basically. You want to validate the type of characters the person is giving you to the title, you know. Possibly you just support Latin characters, perhaps, I don't know. You want to validate as well the minimum input. You are validating the maximum input, which is already awesome. So if you send like a huge title to your database, that won't happen because thanks to this validation. The only thing I would do here is I would add this. Minimum of 3. So basically validate that title actually makes sense and it's not only like 1 or 2 or whatever, okay? It's the only thing I would change here, but also validate that the given title contains Latin alphabetical keywords, basically, words, basically, okay? Besides that, looks awesome. So at this point, we know that the title will be okay. So the only thing I would probably do here is something like this. Potentially. The title will be the request string title. And instead of having completed, I would have is completed. Okay? The is completed, to be honest, having this prefix just speaks better to me when talking about booleans. Okay? And then I would remove all of this because we no longer need it. And the last thing you need is to return like a JSON response with the item. So this would be to do. right here. And because it's a 200, actually, this is a store. So what you need here is 201. Okay, 201 means item like resource created. And it's kind of an improvement over the 200, basically. Okay. Oh, create. Oh my god, I'm so noob. Sorry. There you go. Create. Bunkers is saying, I like to say, I really like this format. You either you learn something new or you see that you are doing something right. I love this format, dude. I'm so in love with this already. You're welcome, Mohamed. Daughter, how you doing, dude? But yeah, here would be 201 though, because you want to return that the statue, basically the resource got created behind the scenes. That's what I would do. Something I just noticed as well is that we don't have return types. So here I would probably do JSON response right there, and here the same thing. Okay, so clean and easy. Now, a few people here in the chat mentioned the action pattern. I'm going to refactor this to the action pattern in a second. Okay. Shinmai is saying Laravel takes care of that, returning a 201 on create. Do you want that? Like, do you actually want Laravel to be magically enough smart to return 201? I have seen cases in the past where doing something like this right here would potentially remove the 201 from the response automatically. So I want to be explicit about my 201 right here, okay? I'm gonna implement the action pattern right now. This is not the action pattern. Here I'm doing everything on my controller. So again, typically creating a to-do, now on this project is actually super simple, but typically creating a to-do will be a little bit more complex than just doing this, okay? So what I like to do is having my folder actions right there. And this actions folder would have some sort of create to-do file. Just like this. Oops. Oh my god. Create to-do.php. What's happening here? New folder with the name actions, okay. And this would be create to-do.php. There we go. So this will be named space app actions class create to-do. Regarding the naming of the method that you have within your actions, people, you can have whatever you want to. I typically like to have handle, okay. I like handle, but sometimes people have invoke or execute. I'm gonna be honest with you, anything just works, okay? Anything just works. As long as you have a single method name and you just share everything all over the place, okay? But here, what I would have is literally the arguments of my action. So this will be a string title, just like that. And then here would be literally the other code we just have done. Okay. One important thing is that don't use default values on the database. You want to control that in your actions. You want to come here, like immediately see how exactly my thing will be created on the database. What are the attributes in the things, okay? So this will be to-do created, bam, bam, boom. And if you want to return it, just do it. Now, we talked about this multiple times. If you are doing multiple database operations, don't forget, okay? Always do a database transaction, okay? If you are doing multiple database operations, always do a database transaction, just like this, okay? And obviously here, I mean, if you are broadcasting, like in JavaScript, you are probably broadcasting, so you want to do something like this to others, okay? Dude, on Laravel Cloud, we have thousands of files like this. Thousands, okay? Thousands of files like this that you created to do, and then you do, you know, you potentially dispatch a queue job, or this potentially create other stuff, or potentially do this or that, and then you commit everything in isolation as a single transaction, and finally you inform the UI of the others with broadcasting. We have thousands of files like this. Now, very important, how this is actually used. Well, you go to your to-do controller, this one, and you, instead of doing this right away, you just do this, create to-do. Okay? Just like that. Create to-do. And still returning a JSON response, by the way, okay? You just do this, and instead of just doing everything right here, just call action, execute with the given request title. So good. I want to kiss the actions pattern, dude. I want to kiss the actions pattern. This is so good. Oh my god, Greg is saying a very good point. A very, very, very good point. Which is, potentially, you might want to need, when this thing got completed, is actually potentially a thing when talking about to-dos. So instead of having is completed, just has completed it, and just provide here now, basically. Okay? This is indeed a good point. Indeed a good point. Beautiful. So it doesn't really matter like the name of the method, by the way. So you can use handle here, you can use invoke. Just be mindful that, in my opinion, invoke is a little bit, how do I say? It doesn't speak human to me, basically. Underscore invoke doesn't speak like human words to me. Like I would rather like to see this like, you know, handle. Just handle this. Execute actually looks okay as well. Execute this action. Okay, because if you say that this is an invoke, for example, right here, this would have to be action invoke. Like, what the fuck, you know? You know what I mean? You would call invoke this way, which looks like crap, don't you think? I mean, technically, you can invoke like this if you want to, but this looks even worse. You know? What do you mean, Charlie French boy? Yeah, technically you can also do this. Right, I know. I think this is quite new in PHP. In the past you couldn't do this though. But yeah. It's still, I mean, I don't know, man. For me, it just feels natural to call this with the actual method name, but it's up to you, okay? It's up to you. I'm gonna keep in my conventions using the handle. Some people in the chat have asked, like, does this actually simplify things? Dude, I just can tell you that when working in big projects, creating a to-do is not as simple as doing something like this, okay? There will be more things, like the user who have created the to-do, potentially here you will be changing other database tables, you know what I mean? You will do different database operations. At the end, or even here, you want to send an email to, you know, like with the to-do created, with assignee, for example. You may have multiple assignees. That's why you want to encapsulate that logic on this action, okay? What's up, Chipapi? How you doing, dude? Plus, exactly what Explorer from YouTube is saying is actions can also be useful, and I have done that multiple times, countless of times. I'm going to tell you an example, okay? So here we are creating a to-do, right? Creating a to-do is typically something that comes from the HTTP layer only, right? But imagine for a second that you want to create to-dos from the CLI, for example, because you want to populate with some default to-dos, for example, okay? Actually, a good example would be when you are creating a user. Oh my God, I have such a good one, okay? When you're creating a user, just like this, you want to kind of give 3 to-dos by default. 3 to-dos because the user is creating his account and you want to give some sort of template so they can understand how exactly the project works like. You want to just put 3 to-dos by default. So I'm going to teach you something really, really important. Keep your eyes on this. So what you can do is reuse actions like this. Thank you so much, Diabel, for tier 1 subscription for 2 months. Hello, everyone. Again, what you can do is reuse actions. Watch this. This is magic, pure magic happening right here. You just provide this. Protected, create to do. Create to do. You create the user just like normal, and then you just do this magic. Oh my God. That's why you do actions. You just chain the actions and just call them. I'm in love with this. Dude, I should do a video course about this, man. Oh my God, this is such a good pattern, man. And just everything within transactions. So even if this thing right here, for example, imagine that your email provider is down, okay? And you want to it's kind of important to literally send this email right here. And you want to kind of commit the thing if the email didn't got sent. You just do transactions and everything will be chained in nested transactions. It's such a piece of gold right here, man. No events. I don't use a single event on this pattern. Single event. Absolutely. We are going to do an update to do action for sure. Patricio, I don't want to avoid the callback. I don't want to avoid the callback. You know, I want to literally use the callback. I feel like if an exception happens, I don't need to do a try catch, basically. The problem about callbacks, I'm going to give you a problem. So basically, if you do something like this, db begin transaction, is what happens if there is a throw here, for example, you know? I kind of want to control everything. And I feel like if you do something like db transaction with a closure, if something goes off rails, there will be a rollback. Everything is like properly handled behind the scenes by Laravel, basically. So, y'all, how you doing, dude? Welcome. But let's keep going here. So this is like properly done right now. This is exactly how I would have done to-dos, by the way, okay, in Laravel. Let's see the update. So the update have a to-do request. So also, yeah, okay. I mean, probably for this project is okay. If we were to have potentially multiple fields that are updatable and some are not, I would have an update to-do request and a create to-do request, okay? To kind of differentiate both, okay? Then I do a to-do, which is equal to to-do find or fail. This is awesome. Very good job here, okay? However, I think I found a bug again. You see this? So looking at your to-do, yeah. So the to-do request does not validate the ID, meaning that this ID can be an array, meaning that this will probably make fail this if it's an array. So this will be a runtime exception, effectively, if the user is providing a new array. On top of that, something you can do here to learn is use model round biting. So here you would do this. Okay? You would do this, and automatically, you don't need this anymore. You know what I mean? This is called model round biting, basically. Exactly, Loss. Exactly. Oh, by the way, here I meant this, okay? Obviously. Just finish out real quick. There we go. It would be something like this. Okay? Yeah, but update, I would use model round binding. And if you do this, Laravel automatically, if you provide it to do that doesn't exist, it will throw 404. Hey, Spence Lamp, I just reviewed a bunch of repos, but this one is like gold, dude. I found literally the best repo I could review on stream because it contains a bunch of typical Laravel use cases. Because I feel like people were sending me repos which are like so experts, you know. It's repos, it's like code which is done by, you know, people who are like a little bit expert on the field. And I feel like this type of repos literally mimicates what real world Laravel developers do and how they can improve their code. Oh, Code with Rafi, I will. Thank you, man. Thank you. But yeah, so I would use model round binding. He is using the validated here. This is very important, meaning that only the title will return back from this request, okay? So the to-do request have a title only, so only title I will get here, okay? This is perfect. I would undeniably also put this behind an action, okay? Obviously here, the scenario is kind of simple, but I probably would also put this behind an action. So this would be update to do action. And I would call potentially, yeah, update to do with the request title, just like that. And here, the response will be 200 though. It's 200 for updates, right? Yo, chat, is 200 for updates or not? Javi is asking if I would return a 201 if the to-do was not created. No. So Laravel automatically, behind the scenes, will effectively return a 422 if the thing is invalid, basically, with all the form validation errors, okay? So this scenario right here will only happen if that is effectively to do. Same goes here. I would use actions all the time, dude. CF Films is asking if most PHP code is written on object-oriented programming. Yes, today, yes. So here would be 200, okay? So here I would probably just put it 200 here. Ooh, finally we have the destroy, okay? Let's see the destroy. So the destroy kind of faces the same problem as the others. So I'm not validating the given ID. So here I probably would replace this with model round binding again, like this. So then I would have the to do. I could possibly do a delete, okay, right there. I could effectively also migrate this to actions. So this would be potentially delete to do. And here I would call my action with the to do about to be deleted, just like that. By the way, on this action of the update one, I need to provide the given to do, just like so. Okay, sorry about that. The return will be a JSON with null. I'm not sure of the contract of this API, but potentially will be different than this. Status 4, status 204, which looks okay. Ooh, very important thing here, dudes. A very important one. Make sure your controllers always obey to destroy, update, store, index, create, and delete. If you need a different method in your controller, probably means that you need a different controller. So I would never have a complete method here. I would always go for this. To do, complete, controller.php, and then I would have an namespace, to do complete controller, and inside I would have a public function with update, okay? And again, this will allow me to update the complete status, which makes sense regarding this. I'm going to just copy this, remove this, to do complete controller, I will update the complete status. I'm gonna move it here, okay? First things first, I'm gonna receive a request, which will be update to do complete request. We'll equally receive the to do, and then the action, which I have sometimes in the past made my actions more readable, which would be mark to do as completed. Sometimes actions does not have to mimicate a little bit these conventions on naming. You can literally just say mark to do as completed and have that action as a name, okay? And finally, the only thing I would have to do is call this mark to do as completed, handle, and provide a to do. And finally, the response will be the to do with 200. Football Maniac, I will never, but like never use that enum in my life, okay? But let's ask the chat, okay? All right. Some people on the audience are going crazy because they think I should be using this. What is the name? This is not the one, right? Ah, oof, there we go. There we go. Okay. People on the chat are going crazy because I don't use this enum on my controllers, and instead I prefer the number. So let's make a vote here. What do you guys prefer? Do you guys prefer the int or the enum? Oh my god, this is hilarious. You have like YouTube, enum, and you have Twitch, integer. I'm gonna screenshot this. This is hilarious, man. Dude. Oh my god. Oh my god. Yeah, but I mean, Football Money can say I'm on Twitch and prefer enum. Yeah, I mean, there is a few people who prefer enums, but a lot of people prefer ints as well. It's a 50-50. It's a 50-50 here. I personally use in numbers because number speaks to me better. Like a 404, for example, speaks to me better for some reason. I do understand why it shouldn't, but for some reason speaks to me better than response not found, basically. You know what I mean? Oh my god. But just as the LDR, I think this is how I would solve this. And I do think that this code review was absolutely awesome. Folks, I just noticed it's literally 9 p.m. in my time, and I need to have dinner with my wife. So that being said, I need to end the live stream, and we are going to be back Monday with potentially big news. You know, Monday Laravel Cloud will be out. So we are going to, you know, react to that. We are going to use Laravel Cloud potentially on the live stream. So much to talk about that. I absolutely love this code review, and we are definitely doing this or more of this in the future. Okay. That was an awesome live stream. I had a bunch of fun. You guys are just absolutely awesome. There will be more like this in the future for sure. Okay, for sure. To do app in Laravel 12. Let's go. Okay. I'm gonna rate someone on Twitch very randomly. I hope you guys, you know, enjoy the content. Not really sure what people are doing here, but let's rate them, I think. All right, folks, that was it for you today. Thank you so much. I'm gonna have some nice pizza with family. I love you all. Today the live stream was just absolutely awesome. Thank you so much. How is it called? Code with... Oh my god, forgot the name. Well, this dude right here, okay? Ralphie, okay? I'm gonna give you the link for his YouTube channel. It's probably the guy have a YouTube channel right away. Here we go. Oh, 2,000... That's awesome, 2,000 subscribers. Okay, I'm gonna send you the link. Be sure to subscribe his YouTube channel, because I do feel that it was an awesome dude today, sending us that link. Be sure to subscribe to his YouTube channel. This is the one, by the way, Code with Ralphie. Okay, I just subscribed. Do the same. I sent you the link. That being said, thank you so much for being here today. That was awesome. Catch you guys Monday. Peace out.